Go on, friends, this is Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we are looking at Star Wars Scavenger Hunt from West End Games. This is, in Paradise Sector, one's alien's garbage is another's treasure. When that junk sparks a wild quest across the galaxy, only a courageous group of rebel heroes can save the Alliance. That would be you. Alright, so we got, I've run this one. This was pretty good, and it's interesting and kind of goofy a little bit too, but it has some adventures or some advantages. It also has an addition Star Warrior scenario for your space combat fun. Let's see, this was produced in 1989. Music begins where the curtain opens, a vibrating fanfare swells into the crashing crescendo. The curtains roll back and a span of distant stars unfolds. Gasps, laughter, and thundering sound effects rock the theater. Somewhere popcorn falls to the floor forgotten. What happens on the screen is more important than the simple snack, more real. That's the atmosphere of Star Wars, the atmosphere of wonder, excitement, and non-stop action. Throughout this adventure, we provide you with hints to help recreate that atmosphere of those wandering films, blah, 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 blah. The adventurers, a group of rebels, are on a mission to destroy the Elusive, an Imperial transport carrying information that could compromise and endanger the Alliance. In the opening scene, the rebels attack and damage Elusive, but the battered starship manages to escape into hyperspace where they can finish it off. Shortly thereafter, the rebels intercept a transmission from the alien race called the Squibs, which indicates that the ship may still be in the sector. Squibs. Squibs. Alright. It says here, adventure background. Some rebel bases installations have made it into galactic news services, becoming almost shrines and memorials to the people who served there. The Dantooine base that served so well for so long, the fighter base at Yavin's Moon, where the Death Star was destroyed. These and other rumored strongholds create legends surround the terrible Civil War. It is in places like Dankale, the little remarked planet and a little-known system, the unsung war is waged. Dankale, an Alliance administrative base, coordinates and handles missions throughout no less 3 sectors. Basically gets picked up by that Imperial transfer to Elusive and translates. Anyway. Adventure begins as rebels reach the Dankale system. Elusive has just dumped their trash, preparing to make the light to jump to light speed. They engage Elusive directly and taking advantage of their vessel's Imperial markings to get closer to the target before attacking. However, of course, they take Elusive manage to escape into hyperspace. Rebels intercept the transmissions, detailing Elusive's jump coordinates, but they cannot break the code. This transmission's destination is a garbage scout owned and operated by the alien Squibs. Rebels must negotiate and deal with the scavengers. They hope to complete their important mission. It says, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Empire has attacked and destroyed a rebel base on Dankale. Though all the personnel were evacuated, time data detailing Alliance activities in the neighboring sectors was left behind. The ruins of the base, including the important data, were picked up by the Imperial cargo ship Elusive for transport to an ISB research facility. This data, when analyzed, will identify rebel spies, agents, and contacts as safe houses throughout the Dankale spaces of fear of influence or control. The Empire has not yet realized what it has captured, but when it does, thousands will be at the mercy of the Emperor. Only one band of rebel agents is near enough to catch Elusive before it reaches the destination. And you just volunteered. Our adventure. Friendly fire. The Squib mom ship, the Ungor battle wagon. The teaser. What you as Game Master need to know is under no circumstances the rebels succeed at their mission. At this point, if they finish off the Elusive now, the integrity of the adventure will be spoiled. Do not use the Star Wars board game rules at this time. It is not a real fight as much as a teaser to draw the rebels into an adventure. Just have them make their normal attack rolls per the role-playing game space combat rules. The rebels manage to sidle up close to their quarry. They have 3 combat rounds with the elusive escapes into hyperspace, plus a free haste action that their surprise move earns them. Excuse me. Otherwise, they can only have 2 combat rounds where the captain of the elusive catches on and escapes. Once aware of the danger, Lucifer's commander opens fire with all weapons, trying to fend off this rise of attack long enough to make the jump to hyperspace to heighten the drama at the moment. The rebels inflict a bit of damage to their Imperial foes before the transport narrowly escapes light speed. The rebels did very well, and by right should have destroyed the transport, let it be severely damaged, possibly with its weapons knocked out, or it limps into hyperspace. Regardless, the transport changes course for the Tolan Navy yards for repairs. First come, first serve. This is here. After the hasty departure of their prey, the rebels were left in a cloud of drifting Imperial garbage, quite possibly including bits of damaged elusive. The rebels try to use their nav computer to find the elusive's hyperspace. By calculating this known trajectory, had to make a very difficult astrogation roll and then a difficult computer programming roll. Examine the garbage. The rebels search the elusive dumpings. They find nothing unusual. Enters just the typical waste products of an Imperial starship with almost unlimited resources. The rebel ships would have held onto almost all of this stuff to be repaired, scavenged, or melted down for materials, but none of it of particular value. Haley, the alien ship. The Squibs respond to a friendly greeting with cautious inquiry and heavily accented basic as to the rebels' intentions. The Squibs realize that the rebels are not Imperials, even though they fly an Imperial ship. Tiny scavengers not only monitored the battle of the elusive, but also the scanning done by the rebels in an effort to track the fleeing ship. The opportunistic little aliens also realize the rebels are obviously desperate enough to find their escaped prey. A hostile communication is responded to with a great deal of bluff and bravo by the Squibs, but a moderate technology roll tells the Squibs rebels that the Squib ship is unarmed. There's some looking at placements that are dot the sides are actually tractor beam projectors. Attacking the aliens, three's a crowd. No matter what the rebels do at first, their next action interrupted once more by the blaring of the ship's sensor klaxon. It has been set off by an unexpected appearance of a huge donut-shaped Ugar battle wagon. And read it aloud. Ship pops out of hyperspace before you seems to be different from any other space from time. The squat, ugly, ring-shaped craft has a patchwork surface of various blackened metals and a hole in the middle of the thick ring seized with crackling energies. Its design is unfamiliar, but the makeshift armor plating and many crude weapon emplacements which litter its mismatched surface hint at its intentions. The Ugars open fire immediately on both Squib and rebel ships, but rather than not, they appear to be cooperating. Meanwhile, the lurid yellow lightnings of the Ugar tractor beams begin drawing in choicest bits of garbage to the battle lake. And so it's a fight of scavenger groups. These two groups, the Squibs and the Ugars, are something else. So make a deal. The Squibs are partly willing to deal with the rebels, providing and help chase off the Ugars. They didn't extend this kindness to the rebels, have the gather up some of the free-flowing garbage or provide some of their own as a peace offering. Once the Squibs are prepared to talk, their first communication is swift and coming. Alien scavengers identify themselves or face quick obliteration by the awesome Squib weaponry. You bet. All right. I'm going to tell you how long ago. This was a credit card slip from the coastal station I worked at back in the late 80s. Early 90s. I was setting up something. I was running an adventure. Actually, I had a friend that would come. I was working the night shift as a pump jockey, as a side, and he would come down a couple nights a week, and we'd sit there and we'd play Star Wars in the middle of the night. Nothing else better to do. It was something else. That was my life in 1989. Episode 2, Strangers in Paradise. Arriving at the Paradise system, the rebels discover just what Paradise means to a Squib, a massive space junkyard. The entire system controlled and operated by the Ugars. Near the system, rebels must first pass through an Ugar blockade checkpoint. The ever-thrifty and religious Ugars naturally demand a healthy donation of anyone wishing to make a pilgrimage to the system of Paradise. After a second grueling bargaining session of less than 1 day, the rebels enter a space junkyard. However, they notice a strange ship following them. Chase scene ensues. The rebels try to lose their pursuer, which they may eventually do, but not before crashing into several large pieces of junk. Meet the Ugars. At least 5 Ugar battle wagons within quick striking distance of the incoming pilgrims. Pilgrims to the system of paradise, we ceremonial salute you in your name of the Gweed. Prophet Botiv, a humble tax captain Gurkak, bids you welcome on a sacred pilgrimage. It is now that we are concluding you to the holy temple, where you will make your ceremonial donation to prove intentionals of faithfulness. Haggling the sequel. Gupper to the rescue. Little squib that's been accompanied you so far on the ship. And this just gives you, this kind of gives you, sets a little bit, gives you an idea. Just as the rebels are about to close the deal with the Ugars, they're entered by a high-pitched yet familiar sound of someone clearing his throat to get attention. Much to the rebels' chagrin, they realize the voice belongs to Swiftler, their squib guide. Unable to resist a good haggling session, the tiny squibs disguise themselves with a very poorly fitting human-sized blast helmet, tech suit, and crossed over into the Ugar vessel to join the fun. Before the rebels can stop, he starts to haggle with the Ugars. Thing goes fine, and the squib is able to bargain the unruly crustaceans down to a rock bottom 12 credits till it becomes time to shake the deal or read this aloud. Gurkak unscrews the top of his armor and extends a gloppy pod towards Pilfer. When it gets within a meter or so of the fuzzy blue alien, it recoils in its apparent shock. The pseudopod retreats back into its suit to be replaced by three snaky tentacles with bulbous eyes on their tips. I can't believe my eyes, rumbles the blob-like thing in the shell. I think they brought us a sacrifice. No one else says it. Has Filfer exclaimed, I can't believe your eyes either. Or maybe not. In the event, Gurkak turns to his leaders with many widened eyes. Wide Argak, see if there is not a demon of a squib coming to give the glory to the altar of the angel of taxation and imports. Gives you an idea that there's no love lost between the squibs and the Ugars. The way to an Ugar's heart is through garbage, giving up weapons. Paradise for the Cocktat likes attacking the pirate ship that's been tracing them, tracking them down. Paradise system of the Holy of Holies. That's a thing unto itself, really. 3, that's no moon. After evading or confronting the mystery ships, Filper leads the rebels to the object of their quest, which seems like a simple enough task, suddenly complicated when the guide points to a 40,000-ton wreck that's protected by several Ugar ships and proclaims that's it. After initial shock, the squib clarifies they don't want the whole thing, just a pod-sized device stored in the derelict, the gravity well projector. Rebels must sneak past the Ugar's dock with a massive wreck, get inside undetected. Once inside, the rebels explore the wreck, a battle with an Ielga and some droids, and meet Darth Vader's spare suit of armor before reaching the gravity well projector. Read the following. Tulane, the enormous wreck floating in the center of the system resembles a huge metallic slice of Drickle fruit pie, a la mode. One that has been through the heated space battle and lost. Judging by the sheer mass alone, it could easily be a major chunk of an Imperial Star Destroyer or a space station of some kind, but none of its outer surface has survived to identify. It is a monstrous honeycomb of broken corridors, deck supports, and conduits. That's it, Spilper shouts excitedly, pointing at the massive wreck. That is the object of our quest. Or actually, a gizmo within inside it. Sneaking past the Ugars. Diagram of the system. The Holy of Holies. Typical squib. L9G8 to heal a pirate. The elusive. Another squib. Typical Ugar. King squib. The old hide in the garbage trick. Darn the torpedoes. Getting out of a sticky situation. The bare wall landing on the wreck. Entering the wreck. Darth Vader's ghost behind the black door. Where to next? To the victor. The gravity well projector. The summary: when the rebels reach the center of the derelict and find the device they're after is on and functioning. After finding a way to disconnect the machine, the rebels try to make their way out of the wreck, wrestling with the clumsy projector. Before long, they are attacked by Japanese pirates who jump them while inside. After exciting battle, the rebels break free and dash for their ship. While they reach the shuttle, they see that once orderly system of trash has gone haywire. Chunks of garbage and machinery float everywhere, colliding, spinning wildly. Getting out of the system is not going to be that easy. Object of the quest. So this is the Gizmo. The Squib wants to help the rebels get the information they want. This thing is a gravity well projector. It's experimental and basically is what allowed the Ugars to turn this entire system into a organized floating junkyard and have everything floating in specific bands and patches and things like that. Once this is shut off, everything just basically is in free agent to collide and to collision and to create chaos on a grand spectacle. So, how many rebels does it take to move a gravity well projector? Return to the hardware, pirates. Stand and deliver. As if things aren't bad enough. Episode 5, Paradise Unbound. Now safely aboard the ship, with or without the projector, the rebels must navigate their way out of the system by dodging in and out of multi-ton wrecks. When the rebels break free of the garbage, the Ugars spot them and take off in pursuit. Amid all this, dozens of Squib ships suddenly appear and begin scarfing up the free-floating junk. After escaping the angered sons of Ugar, the rebels must meet with King Iberi Babri, otherwise the Squib King, to resolve the gravity well projector situation and get Elusive's current location. A dangerous getaway. Squibs ahoy, planning attack, haggling part 3. This can be both fun and exasperating and crazy as adventures go. It's not a bad, like I said, I've run it and I've had some people have some fun with it. It's a great one-time introduction kind of thing, or just a one-off when you're looking for something to do for an afternoon. It's a twist, without a doubt. Hey, get a chance, look it up, enjoy it. Don't. Till next time, have a good weekend.